Hello and welcome to the Foxcatcher Review. My name's Julian Valence, joined in studio by Racing.com's own Hutchi Clint Hutchinson. You were out there at Cranbourne. How was it?
I was, yeah. What a day. It's a long drive for me.
Yeah.
But, good crowd. Good crowd in attendance. Interesting is one way to put it. So I think a lot of people had a bit of fun and a couple of big races. Some of the prize money in these races is incredible.
Yep.
So I think they got a good field. My day wasn't great.
I'm with you there.
I had a shocker.
Yeah.
Barry Crocker.
Yeah. I'm very much with you there. Let's analyse it. Let's try and get something out of it if we can, or we can just throw it straight into a dumpster. The track. It was out 3 metres the entire circuit. It was a good 4. It was upgraded to a good 3 after race 3. Times indicated that it was. It ran pretty fast. Now, I think it raced pretty well. Agree with that?
Yeah, we've just had a quick chat off air about this. So I made a little bit of a mistake not upgrading up and in enough, I think, at this track in when it's good. I think the track was even across and it's a good track. But Cranbourne just being Cranbourne, you want to be in that position. We know there's certain tracks around the state like that. And I still think, particularly in the sprint distances, you want to be right there. And if you can get to that rail, it's a big plus. But I'm not saying the ground was any worse anyway. We did see horses come from all over the place. I think 20 of 30 place getters in the first 4 on the run. Okay. I think up to about 4.5 lengths at the 600. So you look at the data, you go, look, it's played pretty fair. We've got a good spread, but like I said, those sprint distances, you want to be nearer the speed.
That's fair. And it's also worth noting as well, when you're reviewing this meeting, you'll see everything goes well inside standard time. Now, there's no doubt the track was quite dry as well. It was upgraded and understandably so, but they're better class horses that are running in these kinds of whatever kind of races they are. Yeah. They're just better class than what we usually get at Cranbourne. So they're always going to light up the track. So we just got to be a bit careful of that. I thought it was worth noting. I don't usually ever play into this space because I know it's usually the narrative is when Mornington races, people go, well, you got to back Mornington trained horses. And that's fine when you're saying that, but you got to understand that Mornington trained horses run a high populace in the races. So actually, when you do the numbers, they actually don't win more. Anyway, 7 of the 10 winners were Cranbourne-trained horses. So you actually would have won money if you backed all of them, but no one's doing that. So anyway, that was some useful information.
I needed to go back and probably do something.
I know
like
I did. That's what I was going to say.
Where did I go wrong? Well, I went wrong right there.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Exactly. So maybe that's something we look for next year, possibly. I'm not sure. Let's get to the hen houses. As we said, a lot of these races are going to light up the page, so you've got to be careful what you're going to do with them. I've put race 5 in, but it's an interesting one. I've put race 5 in there maybe for a horse that would put later on into the Fox's Den, not so much the winner. The winner was Chest of Gold. It leads. It's deep into the prep. 1.25 inside standard. Last 400, 200 okay compared to the rest of the day. Just went to the front and controlled it. I think it was 6th or 7th run in the prep. It was the fit horse and it just kept going.
I've got to say, Jules, when I look down at this rundown, that Jules, seriously, you must be in a good mood here. You have a stack of horses in the hen house. We struggled at Caulfield, Flemington, we get to Cranbourne, and the list has grown.
And this is and I think that what you're saying is a really good point because, and maybe I'm getting sucked into that. They're just going well above because they're better class horses than what we usually get. So we have to temper them. We have to be careful. I'm not suggesting take Chest of Gold. What I am suggesting is I reckon there's a couple of horses outside of this race that might have been only first up or second up that we can follow with a bit of confidence.
Well, I'm with you there. There's one or two, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna be negative Nancy today. I'm a little bit.
That's fair. I don't reckon you'll be negative Nancy on this one. This one went good, I think, with everyone. Well, to be honest, they ran a race record or something. 3/4 of a second inside standard time. I talk about the Cup, and the winner was Sabaj. Last 400, 200, pretty good. I thought they put the race on for him. Jeez, they went friggin' ridiculous.
Well, how fast did they go? And, when you got the favourite where it was drawn then where it was going to be, and it didn't work out as I expected. Well, I think we were both with Air Assault and
got lost. Jason Holder sort of jumped 1-1, and I know they went really fast, and he sort of got it tricky. But all of a sudden, it just developed, and he wasn't part of it, any of it that was needed to be.
500 metres. I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, and I was already having an ordinary day. How is Air Assault behind Sabaj at this point of the race?
Yeah.
And I've got no chance.
No, zero. We spoke about it a lot in the showed when we spoke about it is it's going to have the map advantage over Sabaj. And that's the case. Sabaj is going to get way out of its ground and might not be that much tempo. Just got that horribly wrong because they went absolutely like scolded cats.
Which is on us. But anyway, I mean,
he's a nice horse, the winner.
I tell you what, he's a really good horse. I wanted to look at him and I'm sort of dissecting the figures a bit more and just look, even his closing sectionals off that speed were exceptional. So he's seriously good. And I was talking to Ollie on the day and just mentioning, like, where would you go? And I don't know. I think there may be, like, is he a Doncaster type that you'd aim for in the autumn? Yeah. His rating's triple figures now, isn't it?
Well, I think it might be like 97, 98 now, possibly.
Okay.
I think they're going to go to the Ingham, which is in 2 weeks' time in Sydney. Big money race. Takes on Gringotts up there, who obviously is winning everything up there. Yeah. He'll be on the minimum here, Sabaj, 53. I think Gringotts will get 61. It's a quality. And I think if you can win that, then you get exempt into the Doncaster. I would say that's probably the play.
That's the plan.
That's the play.
So if you like, I'm not a massive long-range player, but that'd be where you'd be looking.
Let's put the Meteorite winner. I'm going to put the Meteorite winner in here. Now, in saying that, I don't want to be with this horse after this. This was...
You made a good case. Congratulations. You found a winner.
We found one. I got one, and it was Jigsaw. 1.5 inside standard time, last 400, 200. Controlled the race. He's just come back a better horse this prep, to be honest. He was sort of in the wilderness a little bit, old Jigsaw, but he's been really good this prep, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's hard to knock. Look, I think, and he played to his advantages. He's got a great Cranbourne record.
Yeah.
I think he's won 4 or 5 now. He found the spot. I thought Arkansas Kid, might be able to get it done. I think he ran well. He's only got that short sprint and he was fresh up. But, I don't know with Jigsaw now. I think he's been really well placed.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of tracks that have been favourable to his style of racing. So they've done a marvellous job with him, but I won't be with Jigsaw anymore. And he's in the hen house. I mean,
this is the thing. He's gone great, right?
Yeah.
For this track and distance, and then you go, okay, so you've just won $1 million race, but he's not a Group 1 sprinter for me.
No.
Would you agree with that?
No, he's not.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. And so this is where does he go now? He has to pick the edges.
They tried 1,400 in that other race that they go to, the
Supernova. The Supernova. Last race, I reckon's gone good here. I reckon this is one we can follow with a bit of confidence, Hutch, out of this meeting. Genotonic wins it. Well inside standard. Last 400, 200, just about the best of the day. Does it from the front, but I reckon there's a couple of horses. I think second and third was sort of first up. I think one you're going to put into the Foxes down a little bit later. I reckon there's some guts to this one.
Yeah, this is a good race. So this is another horse that, Genotonic won well at the Valley first up.
Yeah. Got
the pattern on side, but won in reasonably good time. Did it again here. So I underestimated how good Genotonic is, but I like the format of this race. It's sort of borderline hen house. I'll give you a pass, but I think the form will work out all right anyway. But
thank God for that.
I needed you to temper it a bit. I'm still in shock. Yeah. Still in shock.
I'm going to the doghouse now, but the problem is, everyone who watches this show religiously goes, I bet you he puts the staying race in. You're right. It is the staying race. It was Black Peppermint. They couldn't break standard, which is fascinating because every other race just went so well inside standard. And their last 400, 200 was the worst of the day, which we understand because it's the staying race. But I don't want to be with these. But again, I know what you're going to say. They're going to run again in 2 weeks against each other.
Is there a Jericho run around here somewhere?
Well, it's next week. It's next week, isn't it?
Sal Cedar, does it go there?
Yeah, well, I don't know. But in saying that this is, 2,400. I think the Jericho is like 10,000 metres, isn't it?
I don't know. It's a long way.
And the Kenyans are the favourite. I don't know that much.
I thought it'd be right in your wheelhouse, the Jericho, wouldn't it? Oh,
jeez. They actually, I remember living in a place or staying in a place in Ballarat. They ran past me one day. So they go. That's how far they go from Warrnambool. They go through Ballarat and then they come out the other side. So it's a long race, that Jericho. Anyway, that's in the doghouse, Black Peppermint. All right, Hutch, let's get to the hits and misses for this Cranbourne meeting from the PointsBet trading floor. Is there anything we want to be with here? Now, race 2, Maldini, 5 into $4.20. It hits, it wins. Blinkers first time. But it's improved with the blinkers, no doubt.
It does, or it has. And I think to take a position, won quite nicely. Look, it was up from a low benchmark. I don't know about the whole race. A little bit cautious, but the horse went well. In the right race, you could follow Maldini again.
Race 3, Hot to Go, $4.40 into $3. It's on the quick 7-day backup. It runs unplaced. Leave me out.
Was the only thing that I got right was not being with this horse, and it had an excuse, but it's still, deal me out.
Yeah, agree with that. Race 4, Keep You Cool, 4 into $3.20, runs third. It's an on-speed horse. I can understand why they backed it, but we sort of know this horse now. We know the level of it.
Yeah, it might well win another race, but what you see is what you get. The recent ratings are all going to line up pretty similarly, and it needs to find a weaker race.
This is one that I'm interested in. Race 5, a horse called Yes I Know, $13 into $5.50. So the market wanted to be with it. It was first up. It says unplaced. It's got into a really awkward spot. I think we're going to hear about this a little bit later in the show.
You stick with it. It's going to make a lot of black books.
Race 6, Hurry Curry, $8.50 into $4.80. Misses, runs unplaced. It was only second up, but I thought it was plain.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because the run prior was a pretty good performance and disappointing here.
Yeah.
Cranbourne can do that to some, though.
Can. This one, interesting. We spoke about this horse last week. Hedged, 8 into 380. They wanted to be with it. We spoke about this.
You weren't keen on it.
Well, my theory is last week was its opportunity.
Yeah.
And
you were right.
And market wanted to be. Now, clearly, it just probably it's not a 7-day backup horse. Maybe that's the key with it. So, whatever. But didn't work out for it.
No.
And they just don't, the opportunities don't come and knock them for these horses all the time.
Well, you'd have to be disappointed with it, and the money didn't work out for it. So yeah, I'm a little bit left scratching the head with Hedged.
Yeah,
I don't know where they go.
Yeah, you're only third up, so maybe you go 3 weeks, and is there a race somewhere around for it? I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you.
Last, Celerity, $3.90 into $3. Misses runs third, but we've got this race going really well, and I know you're going to put the second horse into your Fox's Den. So I think there's hope for this horse.
Yeah,
placed correctly.
I was surprised it was as short as it was. I know you were keen. Were you keen?
No, I wasn't. No, I hated this. I thought this race was really tricky because I liked Celerity. I liked the second horse. I thought I think it's Bianchelli. Thought it was a nice horse. I thought there was plenty of depth to this race, and I think it's rated really well.
The race has gone well. I thought it was a little plain the last bit of the race, Celerity, but it's still at the stage. There is hope, and I think, like you said, the race is okay. So. It went better than I thought it would, and I was surprised that there was as much money. So, jury out for me. Yeah. Not convinced, but, respectful.
Let's get to something that you are convinced about, and it's the Fox's Den. So, I think you've got 3 horses, or at least 2.
I've got 2 because I'll let you do one of them. We both like one. But the main 2, last Wednesday, Marine Empress from
it was first up.
Meeting, Caulfield Heath, first up for Beg.
I think they wanted to back it too. It was really well supported.
It was well supported. There weren't too many excuses, but as a mile, it's run second 3 times. Like, it's just ready to win. It probably wants a bit of ground as well. But overall race went okay. I think Marine Empress, she'll be winning one pretty soon. So, and she might be one to follow. I think you can continue to follow. If she wins that maiden, particularly as they go up and trip. And Bianchelli in that last race that we have spoken about, I like the way it got third best final turner of the meeting off a decent tempo, like the form around it. I think the race has gone well, and once again, well placed. Had a good winning profile going in as well.
It looked to be a horse that will just appreciate a bigger track, didn't it? Like, once it got to flatten out, it just really went through its gears, but that track doesn't give you that opportunity, does it?
Sort of always at its top, like to try and keep up. Like they were rolling along a little bit, and I was surprised how strong it was late. So Bianchelli is definitely one to stick with.
Yeah, out of that meeting for me, Yes I Know. It was first up. I was off $134. I loved the market support for it. I just sort of got into a really awkward spot, and I loved it.
Got a long way back.
Just way too far out of its ground. And I don't know. I don't know the horse that well. So
not many ran as well as that from that position through the day over that sort of distance.
Yeah, I want to be with it next start. Then we go off the beaten track here, Hutch. Dunkeld maiden winner, Magna Belle Royale. Be with it. The horse that ran second is called Gwen's Girl. I think it can win its maiden next start. Now, this one, everyone's going to light up. It's going to light up for every punter in the world, but it's called Faraway Dream. It's a 3-year-old
Faraway Dream. Where did it
won at Ballarat on Thursday.
Okay.
It won B6, I think. It's unbelievable.
Oh, okay.
The rating, I don't know if I've given a bigger rating to a maiden winner ever. So,
how do you find Ballarat? I find Ballarat can be a bit tricky with
this. Is already now. I've got a problem now. I've already got going to have to start asterixing it. Yeah, you're already saying it's a bit of a worry. I usually can trust it.
Okay.
Yeah, but this number is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, sometimes they go so well that you got to say, well, it doesn't. I can be a little bit off here or there, but I find Ballarat you can get big margins at that track.
Yeah, no, that's true. You definitely can.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
This was scary big, so it goes in there. But as I said, most people will have that, but I've got this as going all the way to the top if it can continue progression. So that's how scary it was.
Is that your list?
That's my list.
And what about your list? What about sporting-wise?
Just really quickly, I'm not a massive fan of cricket, and that's fine, neither here nor there, but I did have a bet on it. I decided to have a bet before the series that no game would finish before day 5. I think it was 40-1. So I had a bit of a lash and thought, how smart am I? Like, they'll all go deep, deep, deep. First game was over in 1.5 days.
You hadn't heard of Bazball, apparently.
Yeah, supposedly.
You
So
might have gone the other end. No doubt.
Unbelievable. So I've got that wrong. And then I had a bet on Melbourne in the AFLW, and they've been in front and they got beaten in the last 45 seconds. So
you're going well.
So it was a good weekend.
I'm surprised that on the back of that you got 4 in the hen house this week.
We have to leave.
Well. See ya.
Right, punters, Hutchi out, Ashman in, New South Wales we are going to be talking about. In particular, we're talking about Kembla Grange, which started on a soft track, my friend, and then ended up an absolute quagmire. Diggity, diggity, do. True position the entire circuit. Let's look at this track. Soft 5, downgraded to a soft 6 after race 2. Downgraded to a soft 7 after race 5. Downgraded to a heavy 8 after race 6. Then they've continued to call that a heavy 8. Whether that is true or not, I'm not so sure. But how did it play? At the end of the day, it was all over the shop, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were all out in well beyond. I think Gringotts was probably the closest to the fence all day, and he was sort of in lane 4-5, if you like, in between the two. And the rest were well off the rails. So it was very much an off-rail day. You needed to be fit. You needed to be able to handle the conditions for whatever they were, particularly towards the back end of the card. I suspect the track got worse than a heavy 8 for race 10, and poor old Luke Marlowe, as we saw on Twitter, he was having a bit of trouble even seeing them. The weather was so bad down there, but he's such a good race caller, he managed to get through it. So it was a tricky day, I think, for punters because the needle kept on moving with that rain coming in, and it's very, again, it's a great lesson, Jules, that when there's a lot of rain predicted on a race day, we had up to 15 mil forecast. You've got to be a bit cautious about betting early.
Yeah,
we obviously have a show here where we try and tell people to have a bet early, but you've got to be a little bit cautious about it as well, and at least find horses that can handle heavy tracks if that rain arrives.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and we're going to sort of put this as we sort of roll into the Fox's Den. I mean, we did this, we spoke about this on the 4th day of the Flemington Carnival when it ended up being a heavy track at Flemington. And it was like, what horses do you want to follow? And I was like, well, to be honest, probably none. And I'm assuming you're sort of in the same boat here as Kembla Grange. Like, that's not saying that horses can't come out and have gone really well. It's just a little bit buyer beware because you just don't know how gutted they're going to be if they've been on this heavy 8. Then in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time when they do run, they might get back onto a bone dry track. It's a completely different ball game. So to just put something straight into a black book off that meeting, I think, a little bit, I don't think so.
Yeah, and also, Jules, like there was horses in those races on Saturday as the track was getting downgraded. The connections were already there. They brought their horse there. They floated it along. They've probably just gone and run anyway and copped the bad performance from the horse and gone, okay, we'll just use it as a fitness run. With all due respect. And so even though your horse might have won and won well, you kind of also know in the back of your head that the changing conditions on race day didn't suit a few others in that race, and you've got to keep that in the mind as well. So, and then also, which we'll touch on a little bit more in Larry's letterbox, but you know, it's more difficult. It's not impossible, but it's more difficult rating these meetings.
For sure.
And I find similar to when, you know, sometimes on Cox Plate days in years gone by, it hasn't happened for, you know, this year, but in years gone by, the track's played really hot and everything seems to have gone really well.
Yeah.
You know, from doing this for a couple of decades, you know, looking at those times going, I just don't think all of that can be 100% right.
Yep.
And it's a little bit like that when you get it on rain on race day as well, mate.
No, it's a really good point. Let's talk about the Fox's Den. You've gone for a couple of horses, but they don't come out of that Kembla Grange meeting, but there's still plenty of races up in the New South Wales area, mate. So what have you found?
Yeah, go back to Canterbury last Wednesday. Rail was out 3 there for the day. Everything won in sort of lanes 1 to 5, probably just a fraction off the fence. Sort of lanes 3 to 5 was the absolute A ground. I think they had 6 of the 7 winners in it. There was 2 winners there for the day that ran really well. I'll just mention that Swift Legend was off 28 days and he won pretty well in race 3. So I'm not going to – he's not in the Fox's Den, but he did go very well. The first of them, though, is in race 2, Supermassive. Now, this was a maiden plate over 1,200 metres. This horse, they went through the first 600 metres, about a length below standard, and then he's just ripped home the best split of the day between the 4 and the 2. He's beaten standard time by about 3 lengths with a really good last 600 metres, in particular a really good last 400 metres. His last 400 metres, Jules, was about 4 lengths above standard, and that's where he did all his damage. He was only having his second career start. He made his debut at Kembla over 1,200 metres in a race won by Perfect Apple. They didn't run sensational time in that Perfect Apple race, but it was a slow tempo. I think this horse, fairly typical of the Waterhouse and Bott runners, likes to roll along up on top of the speed. He took a sit at Kembla on debut. He went to the front at Canterbury last Wednesday, and he was really, really good. I think we'll see more of him in the coming weeks, and he'll be winning, I think, a Saturday race pretty soon. Then just go forward to the second last race, or as we say in racing circles, the penultimate.
Yes.
Race 6 of the card. The Witchy, we love that term. Race 6 of the card was a benchmark 68 over 1,100 metres. Joe Pride with Godolphin horses just seems to be going very well, full stop.
Yep.
But Crepe Myrtle, 2 starts ago, I think we mentioned her after her win at Gosford. She sat 3 wide, no cover around 1,100 metres at Gosford, which isn't easy to do there. And she was too good for him. She goes to Canterbury last Wednesday, gets a better run in transit there, and she was just too good for him again. Her ratings are lifting with each run. She carried 60 kilos, which for a 4-year-old mare in the spring is pretty good. I think she's going places, and I think just the way Joey trains his horses, he doesn't gut them early in the preparation. She's only 3 deep in her prep. I think she can win into December. So she's another one to keep an eye out for, Crepe Myrtle.
Love that. 2 horses there from the Foxes Den. We should keep an eye out on those New South Wales races. Mate, Larry's letterboxes, 2 pieces or 2 cups with some string. What's happened? What are they throwing at us towards some insight that we can give for the punters out there?
So first one, and I just sometimes summarise what we get, but how do you rate meetings where it's rained on race day? Now, this goes back to that Kembla conversation we just had. The answer is it's with a bit of difficulty. We still do it. When you're rating a race day, it's the performance of a horse is relevant to the race, relevant to the day. So normally you look at, and I just touched on before about Cox Plate Day. If you see everything rating well, probably the track was a bit hot. If you see everything rating a little bit down, maybe the track was a little wetter than what it's officially at. So that's how we sort of try and work out how the track was playing as a whole. You've also got wind. There's a whole lot of things that can speed a horse up or slow a horse down. Point I'm making here is you use the race day as a whole to try and ascertain how you need to move the needle to adjust, if you like. Now, when you get rain on race day, it's very difficult because race 5 would be unique on its own because there was so much rain leading into race 5 that the track for race 4 was probably a grade faster, and the track in race 6, for example, might have been a grade slower, something like that. So it's very difficult to know exactly if you've got the track condition right for that race at that point in time. But you can still look at the horse's performances, and as you touched on before we started recording, the late sectionals become hard to handle your bonus races. You know, I can see that it was a slow tempo, but I just don't know how much I'm supposed to bonus it. And that's where things get a bit tricky. You still have a crack, you still do it. You have a little note, you might have a little asterisk next to it. So when it pops up in your ratings and you're about to price off it, you're a little bit wary of it. I always look at what happens after the meeting and how those horses go and how they rate afterwards. And I might come back and adjust things for Kembla, for example. I might go, okay, I reckon I might have got that one slightly wrong. So the point I'm making here is coming straight out of the meeting, you have a good crack, but you're also aware in your head that you might have to go back and adjust a couple of ratings as you see things play out over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know how you do it, but that's how I do it.
It's a really good point. And I think for the punters out there to try and understand what we try and do is, first and foremost, you've got to get the track condition right for how you want to do it. So you need to split them off, for example. And it's the same as like shoot races in certain tracks for Caulfield, 1,000 to 1,200. You just have to split off compared to the circle races, 1,400. You treat them as 2 separate entities in saying that. When a track downgrades, you sort of try and have to clump them together. You try and always get a sample size of at least 2 on the same day. Might be tricky for this day, I mean, because the track has sort of downgraded so quickly. But I don't know if races 1 and 2 can go together. Maybe one has to be by itself. Then you can sort of get maybe 2 and 3 together. But you have to try and clump them together so then you've got some type of sample size you can work off. Once you've got the track condition, then you can go, okay, well, that's my standard for that track, whether it be slow, whether it be heavy, whatever on that track. The other point that you got to mention as well here is Kembla Grange and then Cranbourne here in Victoria as well. better class horses are running on these standards than what we usually have at these tracks. So that's the other part. They're going to go a lot better than what they do. Usually we see at Magic Millions Day on the Gold Coast, they all just light up off the page and you go, these horses have run a massive peak. It's just because they're better than what the standards have usually been at that track for the data sample size. The issue is you can get the track conditions right, you can clump them together and you can get your standards. You can go, yeah, they're inside or they're outside. That's okay. Your point about the sections, the late sections, is the most valid and the trickiest part for how you're reviewing it is because races 1, 2, and 3 are all probably going to come home better than races 8, 9, and 10 because they're just running on a better track. So then you have to try and work out, okay, what can I bonus? How can I bonus? Is 13-2 last 200 comparable to, say, a 12-6 in race 1 compared to race 10. So that's the bit that you have to mathematically get around, and that's the hardest part, I think, for how we do it. But it is very, very important to at least have a crack, and then you move on from there. There was one other question made about a horse that runs this Saturday in the Winterbottom.
Yeah, Eddie pinged this one through on socials. Could Joker's Grin be competitive in the TJ Smith? I think he's a horse to beat, Eddie, in the Winterbottom. I actually spoke to Bjorn, who trains Overpass, who's probably the main danger or the horse to beat, depending on how you look at it, on Friday. And he said to me he completed one of his best pieces of work, I think either that morning or the day before. So they're going over there with Overpass with a fair bit of confidence. Yep. And I think it'll just come down to the map and how things go. But just on Joker's Grin, he's gone to a new peak. He was a horse that had good 1,000-metre sharp speed. And as he's gotten older, and this is what we look for, horses that have got a really good sharp turn of foot, but then they can learn to sustain that for longer than just 200 or 300 metres. He's now sustaining that for sort of 400 or 500 metres. So if he continues with that, then look, I think with the sprinting ranks, we speak about Tentaris maybe being the main challenger to Jimmy Starr. The point is that we probably don't have that massive star that we've had in years gone by, and I say that with all due respect to Jimmy. So I think there's probably a small little opening there for a horse from Perth if they run the right figures in the Winterbottom to maybe come across with a bit of residual fitness. But the key is you've got to be able to handle the wet track. 8 of the last 10 TJ Smiths have been on a heavy track, so that's something you need to know before you travel across to Nullarbor.
Yeah, he won the Quokka, and obviously his domestic rating's 115, so maybe that takes him out of play of the sort of the Victorian Group 1s that are a bit earlier than the TJ, say the Oakley Plate and the Newmarket, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him over here for maybe those races, and then you could have a crack at a TJ. Thanks, Nico. I'll see you Thursday. Rose Hill Saturday. I'll see you then.
See you, mate.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.